And then I will set this up.
This meeting's being recorded. It's giving me the option to leave.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Outraged. How dare you? Okay, cool. I'm recording. Oh, no input selected. That's no good.
Same. I just got the same thing, actually. Here we go.
All right. Test.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah. Good to go.
Cool. All right, here we go. Thanks again for this, mate. I'll say that at the end as well. Here we go. Hello. Sorry. False start. Here we go. Hello, Hamoras, everyone. Welcome to Harry Potter and the Boys, a Harry Potter fan fiction podcast by me, Radio Mike. Dave Ferrier joins me via Zoom, the first interstate recording of this pod. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hello, Mike. Hello from sunny Queensland.
Oh, I'm so jealous because it's really cold in Melbourne at the moment. How are you all going in Queensland? Much Harry Potter stuff happening up there?
Much Harry Potter stuff. You know, I went to Movie World last week on Thursday with my girlfriend, and they have a bit of Harry Potter presence. It's not quite Universal Studios in Hollywood, but they have some merchandise at least. Now, Warner Brothers, I know, had something to do with the Harry Potter movies.
They had a little bit to do with it, I think. If you don't know Dave Ferrier, where do I start? Worked with Dave in radio for a while. He's also a published cartoonist in the New York Times. Is that right?
The New Yorker website.
The New Yorker
Yeah.
website.
Had a few Daily Shouts articles published.
And a podcaster, radio person up in Queensland. And also, what else have you done relevant to this podcast, Dave? Tell the people.
Well, I illustrated the artwork for a little podcast, Harry Potter and the Boys.
Now, I came to you, and I thought it would be great to get you on. I came to you a long time ago. Like, I reckon I came to you in like 2019 maybe and asked you to draw the podcast artwork for this and gave you a vague description of what it should be. You absolutely nailed it. Can you talk about your process of doing that? Was it difficult?
No, I just, I got your brief and then I did my best sort of Simpsons / Rick and Morty hybrid ripoff drawing that I could do. And you were very clear about what you wanted, which is really, really helpful. And you didn't want anything too complicated, which is really also helpful for me because I'm not that sophisticated in my illustration abilities. Not much has changed from when I was 12 years old in school, just drawing Simpson-like characters in my workbook.
I think the brief was definitely that there was a character on the cover, Derek, who looks a lot like Ralph Wiggum, and I think you captured that really nicely. And then the other thing was...
Yeah, the wand up the nose.
Yeah, do you remember there was like 3 or 4 revisions on Harry Potter's smile? Because there was a particular scene from The Simpsons that I was trying to get you to copy, I think. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. So I'm looking at the podcast artwork right now.
Yeah.
The big cheesy grin on Harry Potter's face.
Yeah.
Is what you're talking about?
I was very particular about how I wanted that grin to look.
What was the Simpsons reference that you used?
No, I can't even remember now, but there was something to do with the grin. Like at first it was like a cool smile, but I was trying to like enunciate to you that like in this book, Harry Potter is an idiot and he needs to look like a dopey, goofy idiot. And I sent you a screenshot. It might be in our text message thread.
Oh, yeah. We can go through the details.
Yeah.
It sort of reminds me of a little bit like the Troy McClure in the movie where he does that big grin. It shows how wrinkly he is.
Yeah. It's sort of Troy McClure-X. I think it was actually on Facebook we were talking about it all those months or years ago.
Do you know what is in? If I click on the details of our text message exchange and go to the photos, well, the only one that's there is you screenshotting that you sent. You paid me for that drawing.
Yes, I did. Oh, here it is. Oh, I've actually found it. Here's the screenshot.
January 2020.
Here's the screenshot of Homer. There it is. I'm holding it up to the camera. It's like that kind of vibe, right? Yeah. And then I also have one of Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It was that
Great
kind
references.
of smile. Yeah, and then you did really capture it, because here's what it looked like. Here's a little sketch you sent me, and Harry definitely doesn't
Oh,
look as
looks a
good
bit
as he does
worried
there.
there.
Yeah, he looks worried as opposed to goofy. But Dave, we gotta move on with the pod. What's your
Mhm.
history with Harry Potter, and what do you like about it?
Read all the books, but a bit later than you might expect. I didn't catch them when they were coming out for the first few, but straight out of high school, I went on exchange to France
Okay.
when I was 18. I just finished high school, never been overseas. I thought I'll go to France. That's a great idea. Didn't speak French, and I had to go back to high school for 6 months in France, in a French school where everyone spoke French. So
Makes sense.
what I would do during like class time is read Harry Potter, because it was one of the few books they had in the English language section in the school library. So that's how I started
Right.
first reading the books. And then I think it was Half Blood Prince was the first one that I got new and like sat down and read in a day. And same thing with the final book as well.
Okay, and you mentioned over text you've seen all the movies multiple times. So do you
Yep.
have a favorite book and movie? Are they the same? Are they different?
I think probably Goblet of Fire, favorite book and movie. But I
Okay.
think, and I know Jack Post will disagree with me, but I think Prisoner of Azkaban is the best movie. It's the most well-made movie,
Right.
because
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah. I think that's a
Alfonso.
commonly, yeah.
It's a proper film. They got
Yeah.
the Gravity director behind the steering wheel, and it just feels like it really like hit its stride with
Mhm.
Prisoner. Christopher Columbus came in and did what he does, and that was great. But then it just felt like a film which kind of crossed more age barriers.
Agreed. And I've always said the last four movies, all of whom have the same director, David Yates, like they're all fine, but they do all feel stylistically identical, the same
Mm-hmm.
as the first two, which were both Columbus, stylistically very similar. It's three and four that really feel the most unique because they had
Mm.
different directors. What is it about the fourth one though that appeals to you so much, do you think?
Harry's long hair, maybe. No, it's just, it's just fun. It's like the tournament. It's got this. It expands the wizarding world of bringing in other schools, and
Yeah.
um, and it feels like they're all hitting a certain age where they're becoming more interesting, and even just the
Mm,
actors have more ability, and just some really thrilling set pieces, I think. And
yeah.
it might even just be that it hit that perfect time when, like at the height of DVD culture, and it was a DVD that I had for one reason or another, and I just watched it a lot.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, great. And do you have in the overall Harry Potter universe, do you have a favorite character or story arc or like plot line at all?
Put me on the spot. Come back to me. I'm
I'll
gonna have a
come.
think.
We'll
think
do that
about
one
it.
at the end. All right. I always try to guess the house of my guest, and
Uh-huh.
you just scream Gryffindor. There is
Do
nothing
I?
about you not saying Gryffindor to me. What do you think of that? What would you place yourself in?
Yeah, cool, good guy, Gryffindor. That's funny. Whenever like someone talks about Game of Thrones, they always say that I'm a total Jamie Lannister, and I never know quite how to feel about that. But it seems that there's like just this, I don't know, tall glass of water thing, that I tend to slip into. Um, what makes you say that I would be in Gryffindor? I'm curious about that.
I think you just
Why not
radiate
Ravenclaw?
uh because I think you're more handsome than you are intelligent. And that is not an
Mm.
insult to your intelligence. I think you are intelligent, but I think Gryffindors really radiate like, you're a really cool guy, you're really like strong, but you're also very kind, and through getting to know you, you're a really like sensitive kind of guy. You're not like a macho guy, and I feel like those are all Gryffindor things. I think you could slot into Ravenclaw. You are the furthest from Slytherin, and you would never be in Hufflepuff. You're too interesting.
Has anyone have you put anyone in Slytherin that's been on this show?
Yeah, I had Lewis Spears, absolute Slytherin. You know Lewis, don't you?
Yeah, I was going through who's been a guest on your show. I was having a scroll. And between me asking that and you answering that, his name did pop into my head. How did he feel about that?
He loved it. He was an absolute Slytherin. I also had a guest on, a comedian, Jackie Hutton, and I put her in Slytherin as well. Not because she's evil, but I just think she fit the vibe of Slytherin a lot. But yeah, you're a definite Gryffindor, mate.
Cool.
So I think that's a good thing, and I think you'd suit it well. And one more question before we dive into the double F, that's fan fiction. What would you say your animagus form would be? So what animal would you become?
Let's say a poodle, just because my dog growing up was a poodle. And I loved it very much.
But that probably would happen because, often your Patronus and your animagus takes the form of something connected to you in some way. So that possibly could happen.
Am I confusing the Patronus with an animagus? Is the animagus? That's not the thing that comes out of the.
That's
wardrobe,
a Patronus. No, that's a Bogart. That's a Bogart. That's a Bogart.
Harry's like the
Dementor.
That scares off the Dementors. Yes. A little black poodle that barks at them and chases them away.
Yeah, great. I love that. I am going to, because we're over Zoom, I am going to send you the PDF of today's chapter via text, and then we're going to dive straight into the fan fiction. I usually say this off air, but I'll say it. I'm just going to say it on air because I forgot to tell you before. Generally, the way I find this podcast works best, and here's a little sneak behind the curtain to all the listeners, is like, you read the fanfic and we kind of just unpack the writing of a 13-year-old Mike. So we just,
of course,
anything that piques your interest, anything that you find a little bit zany, feel free to stop and point it out. I have sent for the third time ever, the fanfic has left my hands and it is now in your hands. There is a chapter in front of you. I don't want this
to 27.
Yes.
That's impressive at a feat to complete, like to get that far into something.
But you maybe because you're on your phone, you can't see how big the font size is. Like it's a very big font size. But,
there's about 20 words per page.
Yeah.
Everyone.
We are coming to the conclusion of this book. I will fill you in just quickly on where we are at, because I assume you haven't listened to the podcast, and I don't blame you. But essentially, where we are at is the boys, who are the heroes of the story, are now on a mission to get to something called the SR. That's all we know about it, the SR, which is where their evil potions teacher, Mr. Charger, and one of his friends, Boris Mailman, plan on going on a murderous rampage in the school. The boys are trying to stop it, and they are joined by Derek, the stupid Ralph Wiggum-like boy that you drew on the front cover, to find the SR, whatever it is. Dave Ferrier, 1, do you have any questions? And 2, if not, begin.
Okay. Which one is Rob on the poster?
Rob on the poster is the blonde one.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm ready to roll. Right. So do you want me? So do we just go sort of paragraph by paragraph?
Yeah. So start with the name of the chapter, and then we'll just go for it.
Chapter 27: The Pit of Flame.
Okay.
Rob led them down to the dungeons.
I was going to.
You already had something to say?
No, I actually didn't.
Great chapter, Hetty.
Well, that is actually one of the more normal chapter titles of the book. We had a chapter a few weeks ago that was called The Chapter with No Subject Just to Fill Some Pages. So this is actually quite a normal Harry Potter-esque chapter.
Right. So that was a first draft. I'll come back and fill this in later. Much like my ask me who my favorite character is later. We'll work it out. And then you just never got around to it.
No, okay. Well, I thought we'd get to that at the end. So you have the whole podcast to think about it.
Okay. Chapter 27, The Pit of Flame. What a chapter title. Rob led them down to the dungeons. Derek continued to chime in with rants such as, my mum told me that my bum is the most powerful weapon of them all. And my dad says that when you see a naked lady, sometimes you get a magic feeling in your downstairs wand.
So already, this is a great insight into the character of Derek. So, you know, you've drawn this boy with a wand up his nose, and here he is. His parents are telling him things like, hey, Derek, don't forget, your bum is the greatest weapon of all. And his dad is saying,
wisely.
Now, Derek, if you see a naked lady, you might get some magic feelings in your downstairs wand.
And just bearing in mind that you were 13 when you were writing this as well.
And I actually think downstairs wand is a very clever way of referring to the penis.
Yeah, I think it for children, particularly Harry Potter fans.
Because you've got your upstairs wand and your downstairs wand. Both different kinds of magic. One can make babies, one can make things transform.
The greatest magic trick of all. Yeah. New life.
Reproduction.
Reproduction. Okay.
But sorry. But I also love that they're walking through one of the corridors in the dungeons of Hogwarts, and Derek's just going, my mum told me my bum is the most powerful weapon of all.
Some nice character insight to who Derek is as a person. Okay. Downstairs wand. None of the boys recognized the corridor they were in, except Rob, and Michael, because it was the exact same one they had seen in the pensive. Sorry, I've pronounced that incorrectly?
Pensive, both fine.
Pensive, yeah. The exact same one they had seen in the pensive back in that other chapter where they were looking at all the memories. Wow.
So the author regularly refers to the fact that this is a book, which is a strange tactic.
Yeah, sure. That is, to have a narrator is sort of a voice of God, all-seeing voice of God, but to have someone who, an author within the actual prose to just be calling back to its own, including callbacks.
Yeah.
That's an interesting literary choice.
And I've said before on the pod, J.K. Rowling never felt the need to be like, Harry was looking at the Marauders map, which he got off Fred and George back in that other chapter. Like, she never felt the need to do
that. Okay. Rob walked up to the wall and started touching it with the palm of his hand. A few seconds later, he stopped. Light surrounding you, whispered Rob. And just like in the pensive, a door appeared. Rob and Michael.
So can we pause? So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that is a reference to the Evermore song Light Surrounding You that came out in 2007. Do you remember that song?
Sing a little bit.
'Cause I see the light surrounding you. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, the New Zealand band Evermore, right? Yes.
Yeah, correct. So apparently that's a password to get into a secret passageway at Hogwarts in this book.
So, which wizard who set it up
loved Evermore.
Big Evermore fan. Wow. Light surrounding you, whispered Rob. And just like in the pensive, a door appeared. Rob and Michael walked through immediately without any hesitance. The others hesitated. What, you scared? Said Rob. Because I can do this myself, We're coming, said Tom. All 7 of them were through the doors. Creak! The door slammed shut and the boys were locked in. Wow.
Okay. So it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
So are they getting what's the initials that they're trying to work out? What's the mystery they're trying to solve?
SR is the place they're trying to go. SR. And this to me kind of seems to echo the Philosopher's Stone ending where they're going through all the chambers and doing all the tasks to get to the final room. That's what I think is going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you just said that's what I think is going on. Do you actually not know how this ends?
No, I haven't read this since year 7, like literally. So I don't know.
How exciting.
I've totally forgotten.
Okay. The door slammed shut and the boys are locked in. Ah! Screamed Derek. He was yelling so loud that you could hear it from down the road of Hogwarts. One person actually did hear it and was like, did I just hear a child screaming? But then they weren't 100% sure, so they decided to forget about it and go back to sleep. Wow, what a great little aside.
And we may never know the story of that character, the anonymous man who heard Derek screaming but took no action.
Have you ever just heard a mystery scream and wondered, should I go investigate that?
Well, maybe sometimes you hear a noise and you're like, oh, that was weird, and then you just leave it. But that's what this guy did, and he could have saved these children.
But if it's midnight on a cold, rainy night, and outside your window you hear a child scream, do you get up and go find out what's going on?
I'd look out the window and call the police. Would you? Wouldn't
you? It's a
you?
very mature way to handle it. Yeah. No, I'd probably run out there and start demanding to know what's going on, and then realize I didn't put any pants on and run back inside. Okay. Do you want me to keep? Should I keep going? You want me to read this whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to? Okay. Cool.
Keep going. Oh, are you all good to keep going?
Absolutely. No, I just didn't want to barrel through, and you're patiently waiting for your turn. You know, like in primary school where everyone reads one sentence at a time.
The guest reads. Okay. All good.
Shut up, said Michael. Someone might hear you. The boys walked forward. Michael and Rob expected to see the small dark room from the pensieve, but Mr. Charger wouldn't just let them straight into the room. It couldn't be that easy. The boys looked ahead.
Mr. Charger is their potions teacher, the evil one.
Oh, so the evil one is not the defense teacher.
No, he's the potions teacher.
Version.
Yeah, the potions teacher. Yeah.
The boys looked ahead. 2 swords lay on the ground. Rob didn't hesitate to pick one up. Neither did Luke, which was surprising because Luke was normally an idiot. Yeah, more conjecture from the narrator. A note was attached to the ground where the swords were. Choose wisely. Choose wisely? Asked Michael. What does that mean? Then he looked over to his side and saw Luke. He was no longer holding the sword, but he was lying on the ground, blood spurting out of his bum.
Which either is a case of really bad hemorrhoids or some kind of dark magic. But bums and farts seem to be their own realm of magic in this book so far, which does sort of lean into Derek saying his bum is his most powerful weapon, because it does feel like there's a different kind of magic going on.
Is that like is that a little hint that maybe
Possibly.
Derek has something to do with this?
It is
maybe
possible.
He's a wolf in lamb's clothing.
I could be, yes.
So blood spurting out of Luke's bum. Huh? Asked Tom. What happened? Is he dead? Asked Sam. Of course not, said Rob. At 10, 1 will die. We're only up to 9. It reminded the boys.
Yeah. This is a reference to there's a prophecy that at 10, 1 will die in terms of these ill-fated measures, which are ill-fated events that are occurring, and they're only up to 9 ill-fated measures at the moment, which I believe the next sentence of the book says.
Okay, cool. It reminded the boys of the ill-fated measures that seemed to be a major part of the book in the first half, but hadn't been mentioned for a long time.
Which is true. I kind of forgot about them until now, but they're still there.
Okay. Let's take him to the hospital wing, said Tom. No, said Rob. We can't go back. We have to stop Boris and Mr. Charger. Leave him. But Rob, Michael said, he's bleeding out of his bum. It's not stopping. Surely that's not a good sign. It never usually is.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening.
What I do know is that if the blood is light red, most likely
it's
hemorrhoids.
Surface blood.
If it's dark blood, that's when you really want to worry and get to a doctor straight away. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, if we want to slip into medical chat, if it's dark blood, that usually indicates that it's coming from deeper inside the intestine and colon. And particularly if it's marbled through the stool, that is definitely cause for concern.
Okay, well, now we all know, guys. Always check your poop. If it's surface level, probably just dealing with some,
Yeah, if you got a bit of light red on your toilet paper, there might just be a slight tear or fissure. Nothing to worry about.
little laceration of the anus. We all get them sometimes. I've got
They
one right
happen.
now.
Hey,
I don't. I swear
I'm sitting on one of those inflatable donuts.
Yeah.
Look, if you haven't had one, you haven't been living. Okay, here we go. Oh, hang on. Let's take him to the hospital. Surely it's not a good sign. Everyone knows bleeding from your bum is just when your poo doesn't form properly, so it turns into blood. Wow, interesting theory from Rob.
Now
Besides, we have to keep going. Yeah.
Dave, maybe that's how it works in the magic world. Maybe just magic poo is different to normal poo.
I am but a mere muggle. I don't know how the digestive system of witches and wizards operate. You're right. I retract my comment. Besides, we have to keep going or Mr. Charger will win and kill everyone, said Rob. Luke's eyes opened. He's right, said Luke. My bum might be bleeding, but my heart isn't. What?
Now that may very well be the quote of the entire book. My bum might be bleeding, but my heart isn't. Which doesn't really make sense anyway.
No. Mike, there's blood coming out of your ears. We should go to a hospital. No, but my heart's not bleeding. But
my heart's in the right place.
Yeah. Okay, go on without me. Maybe just bring me some paper towels to wipe my bum with, but then go on without me. Was it, do you happen to remember, was it just Harry Potter and the boys that, that there was a strong bum element, or do you remember 13-year-old Mike had a particular, just preoccupation with bum stuff, which would be, understandable and not something, that I or anyone would judge.
I think I just thought bums were funny, and I still do. Look, I still think bums are a funny thing.
Mike, they are one of the funniest things that occur in the natural world.
I think farts are hilarious. So that's why a lot of this fart humor is coming out in this book.
Farts are funny no matter what age, no matter what language, no matter what, class you are of. Farts are funny all around.
Yes, I agree.
Glad we agree on that. The boys moved on after conjuring up some paper towels with the papyrus towelless charm. They learned at school.
Yeah. I think they were like at Hogwarts, hey, our students are going to need to wipe stuff up. How do we get them paper towels quickly?
Yeah.
and which company is supplying the paper towels when you use the papyrus towelless charm? Like, does Hogwarts have a deal with Kleenex that like they can conjure paper towels out of their wands? I do
like that it is not, it's not like Band-Aid, it's not company specific, just papyrus towels. Whoever, maybe they could sell the rights to what kind of paper towel would come up any given month. But
I like the idea of sponsored spells though.
Yeah.
Like, Accio Firebolt, courtesy of Mercedes-Benz. Like
yeah. Water Drinkus, and it's an Evian pops up. It's brought to you by Evian. Nice. Whoever in marketing got this deal across in accounts deserves a promotion. I wonder if if it originally was Wettus Wipus.
Yeah.
But then, it just wreaked havoc with the Hogwarts plumbing, so they had to change it to papyrus towelless. They learned at school. Rob was still holding his sword. You better be careful with that, said Michael. Rob ignored. Is he going to be like this forever now? Asked Michael. How long can he hold a grudge? Said Tom. A door appeared at the end of the hallway. The boys couldn't walk through. It would not open. Now, said Rob. Ah, he said. He saw a sword-shaped dint in the door, and he put his sword into it. Yes, said Sam.
I feel like that's unintentionally kind of sexual. Like, there's a sword-shaped dint for Rob to put his sword into, and it opens the door. Unintentional, but also sword-shaped dint. Like, who would carve out a sword-shaped dint into a wall? That seems highly unlikely.
Do you mean like a sword-shaped keyhole?
I think so, yeah.
Is that what 13-year-old Mike was referring to? Because if so,
I think
is it
that's
swords are... Oh, sorry. Loud
all right.
motorbike driving past my place.
No, that's all right.
Shush, we're recording Harry Potter and the Boys. Swords are pretty long.
Yeah. It's a long keyhole.
A pretty deep door.
Yeah.
So
it's a very thick door. Like,
yeah.
It'd be hard to open.
They moved on to another corridor. Crash! Something had appeared. It was huge. It wasn't a tarantula. It was... Has there been a tarantula before this?
No, there's been no tarantula before this.
I love that. Listing what it's not before.
Can I also say I love how, like, in Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling puts so much detail into each of the rooms they're going through, whereas mine's like, all right, they moved into the next one and now this happened. Like, it's very low detail, which I think is a deliberate choice from the author.
Mm-hmm. Because it's boring and hard to, think up how a room looks and then think of enough words to describe it.
Exactly. All of these
it's a room.
5 by 5 meter square rooms.
Yeah. It's a Harry Potter-ish room. Use your imagination.
Just think about it.
So it wasn't a tarantula. It wasn't a... If you don't know what this is, have a guess. What also was it not?
Are you asking me or are you asking the listener?
No, I'm asking you.
No, I'm reading along with you. I've got it in front of me.
Okay, sorry, you can see. So it wasn't a tarantula, and it wasn't a monkey, and it wasn't a giant. It was a giant tarantula monkey, the most dangerous spider monkey in the wizarding world.
It does sound
all in
dangerous.
caps lock.
Yeah.
With a big exclamation mark at the end. Oh, hang on. That was someone shouting that. A giant tarantula monkey, the most dangerous spider monkey in the wizarding world, yelled Lockie, who was an expert on spider monkeys. That's convenient. The giant tarantula...
Can I say, attention to detail-wise, I believe in an earlier chapter, Lockie got a pet spider monkey for Christmas. So it does make sense that he's an expert. So that's good little... Yeah.
Now, do you think the author did that intentionally and maybe went back and planted that seed? So...
I don't think
there's
so.
Consistency, or was it just...
I'd like to think so.
Wow. Well, the author showed some natural skill then in this regard. Okay. The giant tarantula monkey had 8 ugly, hairy legs, was 84 times the size of a regular spider monkey, and had the head and body of a gorilla. It was basically like King Kong meets Aragog from Chamber of Secrets. Crash, crash, crash. What are those? Asked Michael.
I love how the author, again, mentions the title of another book in the series.
Yes. Yeah. Remember that other cool thing? Well, this is just like it.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe a bit better. What are those? Asked Michael. Everybody looked at Lockie. Those are half-blooded African giant miniature chicken-headed baboon red. Hang on. Oh, that's it. Okay. Those are half-blooded African giant miniature chicken-headed baboon redback, Lockie said.
Just
the half-blooded African giant miniature chicken-headed baboon redbacks had the head of a chicken and the bum of a baboon. In any other circumstance, it would probably be very funny. Their bums just stuck out, just like a baboon. They were from Africa and were half-blooded because they were part chicken.
Okay,
they had the abdomen of an Australian redback spider.
This is insanity.
This is the most mind of a 13-year-old boy we've gotten so far.
And it's like, J.K. Rowling comes up with, it's a basilisk, it's a giant snake. It's a
3-headed guard dog.
And all of those creatures were based on actual mythological creatures, but like 13-year-old Mike's like, let's just mix like 10 different animals together and it has a bum that sticks out like a baboon.
Do you think 13-year-old Mike did an illustration of what this might look like?
No, but we might have to commission one.
I think that's a cool...
I'm the official illustrator of the book.
I think drawing ultimate animals and your ultimate bedroom was like a hobby of being a young boy back in the day.
Yes.
Oh, the bedroom stuff. The floor was always made of trampoline.
My bedroom floor was made of jelly that instantly replenishes itself. So
you had a magic bedroom. Well,
You can,
mine was based in reality, Mike.
you can just scoop up as much jelly as you want, and then the next day it reappears. And it also serves as a trampoline as well because jelly is bouncy, so you can just jump on it.
Yeah, we've all seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. That ultimate
that in that
fantasy fulfillment. Yeah, he makes a
that's right.
a castle. Yeah, and he takes her there on a date.
Yeah.
But it was my bedrooms. It was always trampoline with a foam pit, and then my bed was up high, so I could just jump into it. But you mentioned the jelly thing. I remember being young and going on a full deep dive, like thought experiment of if I got to invite my friends over for a birthday party where I had a swimming pool that was filled with soft serve ice cream, and we got to go swimming in it. And I remember just fully going so far into it that I was writing the invitation and describing what we were going to do.
But the problem with that though, Dave, is that once you've got people's full bodies swimming around in there, you really don't know what kind of bacteria is being distributed through it. Don't you?
True.
Reckon?
Also, what I didn't consider was that if you dive headfirst into a giant pool of soft serve ice cream, you'll drown and you get stuck.
You'd have to eat your way out.
You'd have to eat
and
your
that's
way
a
out.
lot. I can eat a lot of soft serve, but not that much.
But that's the joy of being a child. Now I do those same sort of fantasies, but just about like winning the lotto or like not having to work or something. Anyway, they were from Africa. So they had the abdomen of an Australian redback spider. They all went for Derek. They jumped on to him. Luckily, Derek was wearing his anti-half-blooded African giant miniature chicken-headed baboon redback necklace, and they couldn't hurt him. So instead, they attacked Tom.
So he specifically has a necklace designed for this very creature by coincidence. Almost
very convenient.
Almost as though he knew there would be them.
Wow.
That's weird. That's weird. So
okay, so this is two strikes for Derek.
Yeah.
Derek might secretly be the bad guy.
Possibly, yes.
This is just like that show The Mole, where you have to look for the clues.
Figure out who's sabotaging.
The next thing the boys knew, Tom was on the ground. Luckily, he was not dead. Oh, the pain, said Tom, exhilaratingly. It's simply too much to bear. Oh, kind of seems like Tom likes it a little bit. If he's exhilarated by the pain.
Bit of S&M. Yeah, I don't know why. I think that was just a big word that I wanted to use. I don't think he's really exhilarated.
Please don't go on without me. I couldn't bear to be left alone. Please take me to the hospital wing, for I am in a world of pain and suffering. I would be highly offended if you continued and left me. That's understandable. Continue, everybody. Leave him, said Rob, not sounding as confident as he usually was.
Now, the funny part about that, obviously, is like usually in this situation, the person being like, leave, go on without me. They need you. They need you. Whereas this guy's going, guys, do not leave me here. I'm in so much pain. I need to be taken to a nurse. I will be offended if you leave me. And then the other guy's going, let's leave him, guys. We need to move on.
That's a genuinely funny reversal. Well done.
Yeah, that is actually quite funny.
That's really funny. Rob was not sounding as confident as he usually was. Let's fight them, said Michael. Rob ignored. Geez, Rob, Michael said as he snatched Rob's sword out of his hands. Michael swung at the giant tarantula monkey. He hit one of its legs. He swung at it once more, and this time he killed it.
Ooh,
quickly dispatched. Has Michael been a handy swordsman in this book so far?
This is the first time, as far as we know, that he's wielded a sword. So, yeah, we can't be sure.
Okay.
Where he got
He
the skills.
swung at the half-blooded African giant miniature chicken-headed baboon redbacks. What? Oh, sorry.
Sword.
Yeah, sorry. He swung at the 3 half-blooded African giant miniature chicken-headed baboon redbacks. They all dodged, and suddenly 3 men appeared.
Ooh.
They were 3 half-blooded African giant miniature chicken-headed baboon redback suits on the ground.
Oh, so it was just a bunch of men wearing animal suits, apparently, which is weird.
No one saw that coming. What a turn.
That's Dave saying that, by the way. That's not in the book.
No, that's me reacting. What a shocking twist. Adding my own commentary.
That actually is a twist, though. Like, what the hell? Because they must have looked so believable as these monstrous creatures.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how they got such good quality suits.
They definitely didn't go to the same place as the cash cow. If the cash cow was coming up towards me, I wouldn't go, is that actually a cow?
Yeah.
Walking on its hind legs, trying to give me 20 grand? But these must be, special magic.
Yeah, magic suits.
Witches and witchcraft, witches and wizards, Hogwarts world costumes. Wow, that took a long time to say. Okay, so Michael and Rob recognized them at once. They were three of the men that they saw in the dream. The men standing behind Mr. Charger. Okay, so they're a couple of Mr. Charger's goons.
Yeah, so the boys have been having some weird psychic dreams with Mr. Charger in them, with a bunch of men that sort of stand behind him menacingly. And apparently, yeah, these might be some of his goons.
The men standing behind Mr. Charger, even though they couldn't see their faces in the dream, they recognized the black hats they were wearing. They moved to the next room. The door was locked.
What happened to the men? Did they just leave them, let them go?
They passed the challenge and went, oh, yeah. Hey, I know you. All right, moving on.
Through. Yeah.
And hang on, isn't Tom still writhing in pain on the ground?
Yeah, but they don't.
They have actually left him.
They've lost interest in him. They need to keep moving.
All right, R.I.P. Tom. They moved to the next room. The door was locked. Aloha Mora, said Michael. The door opened. Inside was a room that was probably... Oh, sorry. Aloha Mora is how you introduce the show.
Yeah, hello Hamora, which is
Aloha Mora.
Yeah. But that's,
Aloha Mora.
Aloha Mora is the unlocking spell. It unlocks doors.
Oh, it's an official spell.
Yeah, it is an official spell. Yeah.
The door opened. Inside was a room that was probably 3 times the size of the Great Hall. So it's the even greater hall. That
puts lots into perspective for you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All this in the school. All this space underneath the school, apparently.
And just one room after another as well.
Yeah.
No hallways, just room after room. A note was written on the door. It was the same handwriting that had written every other note in this book. Wow. Welcome to the pit of flame, the final barrier between you and the secret room, brackets SR.
So that's the end of the chapter. And that is insanity because... One, we now know that the SR is the secret room, which is not a very creative title, right? But also the fact that the author didn't think that you would make the link between secret room and SR. So just in case includes SR in brackets right next
also,
to it.
The S and the R on secret and room are both in bold. Just to really make sure.
There is no chance that any kid reading this book cannot make this connection. Like, Dave, a great read of a great chapter, if I say so myself. What did you think?
I think, I'm genuinely hooked. I want to know what happens when they get to the secret room. I want to know if anyone else's ass bleeds. I'm also just flat out impressed that as a 13-year-old, you were able to write this. And really? I mean that even just down to that you were able to spell and the punctuation seems to all be in the right place and there's no really wildly incorrect grammatical errors or spelling errors.
Oh, you haven't listened to the podcast very much. I think this chapter is a little bit of an exception to the rule for some reason. But yeah, historically, this book is full of incorrect spellings and syntax errors, which we can only assume were intended by the author.
Okay, yeah, like a stylistically choice, like Tim Winton, how he doesn't use any punctuation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know that's what 13-year-old Mike was going for, but still, it's impressive all the same because I know, as a 13-year-old, I couldn't have achieved anything remotely as readable, but I'm a good-looking Gryffindor. I don't need to be smart.
Dave, this was really fun, man. You have just started. You've got a few things that you work on. If you're up in it's Brisbane, yeah, or no, Gold Coast. Why do I always get confused?
Yeah, Brisbane. Brisbane. I anchor the Triple M breakfast show here, the Big Breakfast. But when will this come out?
This will come out on Wednesday, the 23rd, 2 days from now.
Oh, okay. Well, by then, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, I will have 2 shows left because I'm leaving that show and I'm going to do something else, which has not been announced yet. So, whatever. Don't worry about that. Keep an eye out for that. If you're a middle-aged tradie who listens to Triple M, but do check out my podcasts. If you're into screenwriting, I do one called The First 10 Pages, where guests, writers and directors and stuff come on to talk about their favorite screenplays, and we focus on the part that has to hook the reader, which is the first 10 pages. And I just launched another one where my friend Zach Mander and we both work in radio, and we're going back over the old Ricky Gervais XFM radio shows, which is the radio show which brought the world's Carl Pilkington. And I've been a huge fan of them for 10 years. And Zach's never listened to them before. And they're shows that still have a massive, massive online community of people who still listen to them, both, radio and comedy fans alike. So we're going through them week by week.
Yeah.
And the show's called the Carly Pilk Boys, by the way.
Yeah, the Carly Pilk Boys. You may know Zach Mander from Collective Noun.
Yeah.
And I've asked him to come on this pod in the past, so I should try and organize that because Zach, he said he hates Harry Potter, but I think that'd be fun to have on the show.
That would be hilarious.
And yeah, so follow Dave on Instagram. Is it David Ferrier Cartoons? Is that your best one, or you've got another one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I haven't posted anything for a little while, but I've just been working on something just as in my own time, which I'll post pretty soon. Just this, I've posted like a couple of. That's where I post all my cartoons, and when I used to go after it a bit more seriously, that's where I'd post all like the ones that have been published or that have been rejected, and but more recently, I've started doing just for fun little flipbook animations, and I've been working on a pretty elaborate one, which is just about finished. But yeah, David Ferrier Cartoon. So the page has been inactive for a little while, but something is about to go on it.
Great. And to finish up, I know you were reading the book, but did you think of any characters that are your favorite from Harry Potter?
Yes.
Oh, you did.
I'm going to go with a classic. I'm going to say Moaning Myrtle.
Oh, great.
Because she is so unique and distinct. And a friend of mine, Gillian Cosgriff, is in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and she started in the role of Moaning Myrtle.
And did a fantastic job, by the way.
I have not seen it. And I was listening to your episode with Jack Post, and you guys started to talk about it, and I got very scared that there were going to be spoilers because I've managed to avoid any and all spoilers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely go see it and let me know what you think. But yeah, Gillian did an amazing job. I thought Moaning Myrtle was probably one of the most memorable moments of the show. And it is a great show. A lot of people have issues with the story, but like I feel like it's that with any big fandom like Star Wars or whatever it is, people are always annoyed at everything that happens. But yeah, Moaning Myrtle. But I think Gillian also plays another character. I don't think she's just I think she doesn't play Moaning Myrtle in the current season. I think she plays another character in the current season.
Well, what I understand is that she has moved on to a more substantial role in the current run.
She is now playing one of the major characters, but I considering you've avoided spoilers, I don't want to tell you who that character is.
Okay, great. Yeah, Moaning Myrtle, and look, of the three, Ron Weasley is great, and blanking on his name, the actor, he's the
Rupert
strongest. Rupert Grint, strongest actor, got great, natural comedic timing, very charming. Who was your pick?
Oh, I love Snape. I think Snape is just one of the greatest kind of tragedies ever told in fiction. I really love that story.
Yeah.
I really like Ron as well. I think Ron's really good in the films, and Fred and George are great too. They're just the most fun. But yeah, Dave, this was super fun, man. Thank you so much for doing it. Goodbye, Hamoras. Do you have any final words?
Goodbye. Well, look, I did want to.
Oh yeah.
Just quickly, I just wanted to compliment you on this show.
Yeah.
Because, the content and also 20th Century Boy, maybe this is something I should just tell you off air, but just,
God,
it's so good. It's real.
Thanks,
the
man.
content is really good, but also, God, you are slick. And everything sounds so good, and the production values are amazing. The dubstep Harry Potter theme that you've got at the front. Like, just before we started recording, I was editing like the new episode of Carly Pilk Boys, and I had to record on the intro an apology for how bad quality the sound is, because we're still working it out. And I said, we're radio presenters, not engineers, so we're trying to get better at that. And then I just flicked on your show and was just like, oh, this is how it's supposed to sound.
Oh, dude, that means a lot. But I'll reverse the compliment back onto you with all of your stuff that I've heard you do. And I mean, another probably better off-air thing. But if you ever want to just like spitball ideas for production on your show, sorry, listeners, I know this is probably not relevant to you at all. But yeah, shoot me a message, man, and and I can like just
okay, you can give me
chat.
some suggestions for how to not make it sound so weird. Look, I know the problem is we were both talking into one microphone. You can hear me fiddling with the cord. It's
okay.
just, ugh.
Let's end the pod and we'll talk off air. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks to Dave.
Thank you. See ya.